Thank you so much. Okay. Hello, Woody. Is it Woody? Yeah. Hello, Woody.
Hello, welcome back.
Welcome back. Okay, I would like Leah, you to introduce yourself with Justin. You both introduce yourself with each other. I just did one session with Justin. It was on adult autism, and he is 40 years old, and he will tell you his own story. I would like you to introduce each other to yourself. I mean, introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Justin. Like she said, I'm 40 years old. I'm on the autism spectrum. I was diagnosed in 1985. Went to special ed classes and regular classes throughout the school years. Basically, had speech and occupational therapy when I was young, and I worked for a company that does ABA therapy for autism. As a data entry clerk. And of course, I went to college as well for data entry line of work. So been with the company I'm at for 2 years now. It's been really great with them. So also self-advocate for autism and public speaker, basically. So I'm trying to be more independent, self-efficient kind of things, basically. And
you're a public speaker?
Yes.
He's working with police.
Oh, cool. Nice to hear. A public advocate for autism.
Because mostly I've done some law enforcement and other areas, basically schools and different aspects. Just even my own workplace, it's got different locations. So the team members of like more of the RBTs, BCBAs, except several operation managers, the company I work for. So would do applied behavior analysis for autism, basically. So basically got a lot of insight on that kind of thing.
So Leah, would you like to introduce yourself to Justin? This is my second meeting with him. I just did one session with him. And that was very amazing session, by the way. It was about more like adult independence, that how an adult can be independent because he's doing a job and he's doing data entry kind of a job, and he's living with his parents. So he have the support of his parents also. So I would like you to introduce yourself to Justin, and then we will start talking about how to manage finances. The one thing that is very difficult to manage.
It's difficult to manage for everyone in this world because it's an unreal man-made idea of value. But so it's hard for autistic people in general to, I think, work with abstract ideas that are not real. But for me,
I told my friend today that this is what I told Dr. Shagufta. She was saying, you don't understand this, you don't understand this. And I said that I cannot understand abstract thing which is not present. I am the one who questions all the time. I need to know the logics.
And value, it makes sense, but power makes sense. So I get it. I understand it. I don't like it. However, I've accepted that it's the power, the invisible power of the world, right? But so I came from poverty. So myself, I learned I was autistic late in life. When I was 32 years old, I was formally diagnosed after neurological testing that I was primary diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder. They were actually having it going 2 to 3 behavioral and 1 social. My masking happened due to trauma, which, in a blessing in disguise, I like to call it. It made me oblivious to childhood traumas that were very terror and violent. And it kind of, in a way, when I went to school, made me very oblivious to smiles and laughter, meaning bullying. So I tended to be oblivious to that a lot of my life. And I'm pretty thankful, because from what I hear, especially with now learning I'm autistic and meeting other autistic people and their stories, bullying in general sucks. And it's actually considered in one of the extreme more extreme types of trauma. And in that, I mean an actual, I'm pretty sure it's APA diagnosis or DSM-4, don't quote me on that one, but I did read it somewhere that, and I can't reference that now, but that bullying in school, especially more severe types of bullying, is up there with war and violent, brutal rape. So, and like a terrifying sudden accident. So bullying, from what I'm hearing now and what I'm becoming aware of, it's uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable. I thought, I don't know how I never got bullied, and not all my friends were bullied, and I was like, I just didn't care, like, you know. And I think
that is the point.
I was just I'm glad I didn't, because it gave me that social empowerment through my life. Now that I have that, I've been able to survive a lot of other traumas that were in my adult life too. So I'm thankful for autism and masking. And anyways, my secondary diagnosis is PTSD with dissociative symptoms. And I work with children and youth and families, mental health, and I work to build tools of stress management with children, youth, and families, so that whether there's a disability, whether there's not a disability, I like to call it adaptability, and I've been taught that by other people, how to manage stress in small, big, or large, and self-manage so that we can stay functional. And especially in autism and PTSD combined, sensory overloaded experience combined with sensory overloaded experience can cripple a person if not brought awareness to and taught how to manage. So I try to teach stress management tools, but also to connect to resources so that these children, youth, families in later experiences, or if now they can't manage it themselves or they need help to manage it, let me word that better. They need help to manage it. They're not afraid to ask, and they know which resources to connect to so that they can get the sufficient help they need so that they can learn to manage their stress, keep their family together, and be healthy. Anyways, that's my goal. And my goal with being an advocate for Sounds of Autism is to bring children, youth, and families together with resources here in Canada and in the States until we get, the connection stronger. We don't have these collaborative connections like as other countries may have in different ways. So yeah, I'm assuming, Justin, you're from the States,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken, but I'd love to definitely meet up with you and maybe see some of your public speaking, because I could show it. I don't know what age group you work with, youth, high school, or adults.
And colleges,
I mean, I'm pretty much vary from as well myself. Different, legislative side, school side. I mean, there's like health side. There's like mental health, like you said. There's like different fields that or employers
you may work with. I understand.
Parents wise, and give them more resources. I mean, it's like it can be broad.
Where are you located again? I missed that.
I'm in Texas.
Texas. Okay. Well, nice to meet you, Justin. Yeah, it's
right
nice.
now,
to have
earlier this year
we need a man advocating for those little boys out there.
Earlier this year, basically,
totally different. We all are playing our part. It doesn't matter that you live in that place or not.
earlier this year, basically,
talking to each other is a form of advocating for those children and those family as well. So you don't need to be a superhero to help other people out, or you don't need to be a, what it is called. You don't need to be carrying a lot of finances
who helps.
Talking about
A
that.
Superhero exists. We exist. Not we, but I mean, superheroes. Every human being has the potential to be a superhero. Superheroes aren't flying people that can jump off buildings and fly like a bird. superheroes, I teach children this, are people that can help other people heal. It's like magic, you know?
Yeah, earlier.
It takes a lot of strength and effort to be able to do that, not just for the other person, but to be able to look inwards, you know, and awaken, according to Freud, Sigmund Freud, and be able to heal in a healthy, efficient manner. It's a lot. It's not easy. So I think people, especially, you know, these women, Dr. Khan, Cricket, Bernadette, and
Abbasi.
oh my gosh, I'm
Abbasi.
sorry. My
Doctor.
Dr. Khan, your associate, your partner in crime. You
Abbasi.
both women, you inspire me. So anyways, it's nice though. I like to see men too in the field inspiring the world too. And yeah, you need to meet James because he's also a public speaker and does a lot of stuff for what you know that here in Canada.
I met him already.
Oh.
He is
Earlier, basically,
you know that first time I tell that I have these kind of traits, you know, that neurodivergent and neurotypical thing. Yeah.
You know, right brain, left brain, AKA, or AKA left brain, right brain.
Yeah.
earlier this year basically had we got the legislate thing for ABA Medicaid, and that was for my state, basically was approved earlier. So back in February, I think. Was it this year or was it last year? Probably this year, but well, the whole COVID thing kind of hindered things on certain things. But you know, like where Medicaid basically pay for ABA, there, you know, basically pay for ABA, basically Medicaid insurance. And a lot of families out there who have Medicaid insurance can actually get their.
I heard about the ABA. What is that? Because it's here in Canada. A mother mentioned it to me here in Canada too. What is ABA again?
Applied behavior analysis. I mean, it's basically I'm working with a company that does that. As I see I do one of the kids and help with their behaviors and motor skills, basically, and try to get we'll be able, you know, with the anger, you know, behavior issues to be able to improve motor skills, getting ready for pretty much the schools, basically, kind of thing. And
and the ABA is whom helps connect. Okay.
Some people think that this is a way to deal with autism. So that's why it's more popular or more associated with a lot of things. So ABA with autism, and it's one form of therapy.
Oh,
it's a form of therapy.
It's not
applied behavior.
Yes, okay.
Token, you know,
it's not the same thing as what
punishment. It's more like that.
Okay.
Token, reward and punishment, not punishment, but negative reinforcement, positive reinforcement, and things like that. So it's more like that. So
sorry, I'm still here. I forgot I have clothes hanging in the background. 1 second, I'm turning my camera off, but I'm here. I'm listening, okay?
Sure.
But yeah, so that's, I mean, I've been with my workplace for 2 years that does that ABA thing, basically. And I've seen improvements from a lot of kids. I mean, I did the RBT training myself, and I've seen improvements for the kids wise on different aspects on that kind of front. Going forward.
But I think that we don't need, when we are working with children, we don't need to be very rigid, because children are very diverse, and 2 children on autism or 2 children on ADHD, even girls and boys on autism or ADHD, they are never same. So we need to be very flexible, because someday we said, okay, today we are going to apply some kind of ABA technique. Let's say it's a discrete trial learning, and the child is not in the mood and he want to do some kind of art therapy thing. So you cannot drag child to come and sit with you and start doing that thing. But the point over here is that, okay, if he's in the mood to do art therapy, then you can apply over there. So over here, you need to be creative. This is what I believe. You need to be more open-minded, more open-hearted, and more creative when you're working with children. Even with adult also, you can never have a rigid mind to look a problem in a certain way. So I think it's a good thing that you know a lot of different techniques to work with a child.
You're
right, because I've noticed it's funny, since I've been diagnosed with autism, I seem to come across lots of children with autism, but you know what's really interesting? A lot of the children I come across, like I grew up, there wasn't a lot of knowledge of autism when I grew up. I mean, there was, but not really. Everyone, it wasn't, there's no awareness. Anyway, so it's really beautiful for me to see parents who, whether there's, any kind of emotional dysregulation in the family, I've come across parents and I firsthand see the love and the attention and the care and the struggles, to be able to care efficiently for the family and keep it together. But I've come across a lot of children with autism in this sense, and undiagnosed autism I've only really seen in people, a lot of people from Pakistan. It seems common, I think, in a lot of the families I met, undiagnosed in the teenager stage, but also in Canadian families as well. I come across, but I always see the efforts made, and this is how I came across cricket. This is how, and Sounds of Autism and Dr. Anila, and first I was introduced to them through a person whom I met through another person who introduced me to autism resources, and that was a parent of a child with autism. And the parents in Canada of kids with autism in Canada, they're the ones actually that know the most, and they're the ones, the resources, and they have actually taught me. And so when I met or was introduced with the Sounds of Autism, I felt really a lot of gratitude, because in Canada, we actually don't seem to have a really sufficient middleman like this to connect families. Families have to do it all on their own. They have to sit there and tell all these things about their child that they don't want to say, because they know their child has all these abilities, and autism is not the disability. However, the conditions related to untreated symptoms of sensory overload, which is what autism, in my opinion, but I'm not a professional yet, but I do a lot of research, and I'm autistic. That goes unmanaged for a long time. Disabling conditions arise, and for that, it's early prevention that is the most important. So anyways, I'm tired, so I think I just went on a tangent. Sorry.
No, it's just yeah, because I know probably, I'm sure Pakistan, Canada, and basically, especially getting there's any resources that the governments provide or for autism in general. Like U.S. they have a few things here and there, but a lot of what Canada and Pakistan does basically for help providing stuff basically for families who have people on the autism spectrum or something like that.
How, Justin, you're autistic, right?
Yes.
How were you knowing your whole life? You said your parents are very like the parents I had mentioned that I've come across. You had mentioned that or Anila mentioned that your parents are similar, like they're very supportive.
Because once I got diagnosed, basically the problem was, I think, is finding resources, because I'm 42, I'm 40 as well, and there weren't many resources back then as well for many other. Oh,
James, you and James is like your doppelganger. Field doppelganger, meaning like metaphorical for he does. If I'm not mistaken, he's similar to what you do, but here in Canada, and you're both the same age. I guess that's not relevant, but I said it.
I'm not wrong about it.
I wish James were here so that you both could meet. I know you'd have a lot to talk in common with.
I know, I am trying to connect people as much as I can, and it's okay if you want to, invite anyone. You can invite them over here. It's not a restriction, because it's a global phenomena, and we all are talking about that. So,
Dr. Anila, Dr. I just don't want to pronounce your name wrong, so I didn't say it while I was talking, because Dr. Shagufta.
Yes, Shagufta Abbasi.
Shagufta Abbasi. Yeah. Sorry, I'm afraid to pronounce names wrong, so I didn't pronounce it, but I meant to include you in everything I was saying. Okay, so just want you to
It's
know that.
okay, it's okay.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, because I know, because I know for US, they have, each state has their own, like Medicaid waiver programs, and there's like a lot of private, resources in private sectors and stuff like that, but some of those can be
Already
very
a war of pronounce actually.
missed.
It's a big war around people.
What Canada does and what Pakistan does for help out in the government sector kind of thing on autism in general.
Over here, government is not supporting these things. I mean, those people are doing on their own capacity. We learn by our own hard work and effort. If you know something, because those people who have to put too much effort into knowing something, I think just because of their hard work, they try to understand things more. So over here, parents have to pay their own money for these services, which is very expensive over here. Like
Here too, it's $4,000 to get an autism diagnosis and a neurological assessment done in Canada. It's not free. Psychiatrists who are government public health care don't do anything in Canada. It's actually a lot of psychiatrists that do stuff. They're only accessible in the emergency situations a lot of the times in most provinces in Canada. It's very disconnected. We're not connected federally. We're only provincial, so no provinces talk to each other or know anything. So if you're a family and you have a child with autism in Ontario, you move through, it's up to you to bring all over to BC. So if you don't bring it, you have to reapply for everything again.
Gosh.
It's a hassle. It's not.
Sounds like a hassle.
Some things are federal, but like we have a very broken, we have resources, but we're very disconnected in everything. No one talks to anyone. There's no mental health policy. Our public health policy is there's a lot of negligence in this. Probably just when I look at the states and I see your system and your policy in mental health and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of stuff wrong with every system.
Yeah.
No system is perfect. But when I see the policy for mental health that is collaborative and it connects educators, parents, families, doctors, it's something I want to happen in this country. And I'm excited to bring more people on and get this bigger so that we can get it, slowly built outwards and built into Canada and then into Pakistan and into other countries, because autism, isn't something that just came up a few years ago. It's just a pattern of learning that we all have had throughout life. For example, Albert Einstein, autistic. So according to everyone has reports. So autism is just a different pattern of learning in the brain. It's the sensory overload conditions that we need to work on. And when we can find resources that can help bring parents together, educators together, doctors together, mental health practitioners, and also, other family resources. I know that Sounds of Autism has just started to add something onto their list of resources, and that's, I think, to do with services that relate to, family trauma and, other stuff like that. Because I think that's really good, because there's a lot of people out there. The people who have been undiagnosed tend to be the people who suffer with PTSD as well.
Yes, those people are the victim actually.
Masking.
Because you don't have a social skill to talk to other people. You cannot, just because you lack social, you don't know that other people are there to harm you. Like they will act like they're your best friend, but they are the one who stab you in the back, and those are the people who give you a trauma. So just because they lack social judgment, I would say, about things that get going around them, that is the reason those are the people who are the victim of that trauma most, and those are the people who are victim of abuse as well. And it also includes bullying, which Leah was saying in the start, that you don't say to anyone, and you say that. Even there's another thing also which I would like to mention, that people with autism are more empathetic. Even yesterday I wrote it about, I just read it, and they said that people with autism are double empathetic. So you just don't want to hurt other people's feeling, and just because of that you will stop and you will listen to their bullying. and you would listen to their judgment and things like that. So you don't give them answer, and they keep on doing same thing and same thing and same thing until they make you believe that you're same you're a bad person, or you're a slow person, or you don't have a good judgment, or you have bad grade or things like that. You're not an independent person. So I think these are a lot of things which contribute into the daily living we have and things like that. So I think Leah, your camera is off.
Oh, oops, I didn't realize. I was looking at everyone and I didn't notice that my face was gone.
Off actually. Face off actually.
I was like, wait, who's that? Oh, it's me. My face is there. And then you said, oh, your face isn't there. But you didn't say that, but you. You know what? It's funny you say empathy, double empathy, because, I just came to the thought, empathy, sympathy. Autistic people seem like maybe they don't have empathy because we don't have sympathy. Sympathy is sensory underloaded, like the abstract of sensory, but it's emotional sensory. So it's internal, which is something that autistic people are a little bit needing to work on to be consciously connected to. But sensory underloaded experiences tend to go more in the emotional abstract experience of the world, and that's causes sympathy, able to emotionally connect but not physically connect to the same experience. Empathy is the physiological ability to connect to the sensory overloaded, I would like to say, experience of the world. Empathy is more just simply that. It's autism, for example, in that sensory overloaded experience, that ability to physically connect, but we're less emotionally able to connect and hug and be able to provide the emotional support, but we're able to provide the compassion in the sense of connecting to the sensory of the other person in that way. So I like how you said the double empathy, because it's that double sensory combined overloaded experience from not only trauma, but neglect as well. And
that's the point. You're connecting your own energy with them actually, and you're actually able to do that. And when people say that people with autism have no emotions, they're actually very good in reading the emotions, and they're actually very good in recognizing the patterns.
Like emotion, we just don't deal with our emotion right away because we have to deal with our environment's emotion because of that sensory. It's to be safe for every autistic person
you have
to feel safe in our environment.
You have to keep yourself.
Yeah,
that's when masking is going to help you out. Mask is going to help you out, and masking is a very positive thing. It is going to help you out to, burn out from these emotions. And that sensory overload, a lot of things are coming from you, and it's not always positive energy, it's always negative. Sometimes it's negative energy as well. And you cannot work on a lot of things, and you cannot fight a lot of battles at the same time. So you have to fight one battle at a time. It's more like that. I think
we have to fight with love. We have to fight with love
exactly
to exist in this world and not be silenced.
Yes. I don't like violence. Yeah. I don't like violence at all.
I mean, especially for me, most of the time when I was younger, I mean, the thing is that having employers basically understand the concept when you're trying to find work-wise, and basically, when earlier days, I mean, the autism diagnosis is still, it's very small, but nowadays it's like very large, and
exactly, it's a big, huge phenomenon.
Because it's the typical society who's doing these diagnoses, right? And it's not autistic people like ourselves.
I mean, for me, it's just trying to find work back then and everything. And I mean, just where an employer basically, the problem is when you're trying to find work and you can't, there's a couple of reasons why you think they can get you on board, because there are other candidates about looking for a job, basically, who are more qualified than you, or, just the age, your experience. I mean, the problem is you didn't know at the time, or they don't know what autism is. I mean, there could be various reasons, on that, and especially don't give you a call back or like time of day back then and all that, basically for work, trying to find a job, basically, or who understand the autism or they're affecting themselves. It could be various reasons.
So you're saying that self-disclosing in a professional setting has been different for you, then
Well, yeah, probably like 10 or 20 years ago.
makes it difficult, more difficult.
But you know,
Yeah, I've never had issues until I started self-disclosing I was autistic. Right away, people disconnect. They think I'm incapable. But I've had to learn how, I'm working to self-disclose in a way that like, I make it like, for example, the sensory, overloaded experience of autism has really helped me to, I guess, be more aware to details, something like that. Like, but it took a long time. And I also never knew I was autistic. Like I said, oblivion sometimes is a beautiful thing. But now that I do, I say it by accident right away, I lose the person. Whether I haven't really, because I tend to work with parents with kids with autism, it's different. But if I were to go into like just a store and meet a friend, second I say I'm autistic, all people see are like, ooh, like people who can't, that's no autism. It's not autism, has nothing to do with intellect or.
There's one thing else, everybody's little autistic. And that is very funny thing. Everybody's little autistic. How it is possible even?
I don't like when people say that because it's not true. I think we're just all human. Everyone's human, but not everyone is autistic.
Exactly. And we have to understand the point that we have a personality too. Autism is one thing, your personality is also, and you cannot ever overshadow your autism on your personality. So you have a beautiful personality, you're a beautiful human being, you have capabilities, you have abilities. You're very good in few things. For example,
right.
You are.
Yes.
I mean, this is something that you probably can do. Probably.
When our parents came to me, I said, what your child can do. Tell me. Don't tell me your child is not able to do this thing. Tell me what your child can do. Oh, your child is good in painting. Your child is good.
And we need to focus on that.
Yes, you focus on what the child can do, so that you add few more things into that and help those things to make your child more capable of what child can do. I think that is the best way. Otherwise, you just you have a what it is called a checklist. Oh, the child cannot do this. Wrong. The child can know this. It's coming.
So I will say, to get government money and funding, we have to do those checklists, and that's why parents desperately could benefit from connecting with these resources. So these resources can do it for the parent, because I've heard parents tell me, when you do this for yourself, it's one thing, but when you have to sit there and look at your child and write these things about your child, it's demeaning, it's heartbreaking, it's crippling in itself. I've been told by a couple of parents. And so that's, it's hard to say that we're unable to do anything, give us funding, but we need help, because for the first 5 years of a child's life, a lot of times it's unknown. And so that 5 years of stress management that could have been known to the family, the child, and we've worked through it, learned how to manage it, the child's able to breathe, the child's able to take self-power and control. And if not, they know when to ask for help. When that isn't been grounded into the behavioral systems, into the societal systems for the child, and even into the intimate systems within a family household, it causes the disabling conditions and behavior of the child, and they can't function. And that's just okay. We can heal that. But yeah, it's capability and potential. If we are walking, and when I say walking, I mean moving. If we are moving in this life and we are breathing, it means we are alive, and that means we have we exist, and that means we have potential to learn. We are learning, and we have
the other thing too in the States, though, they got employers that, I learned this not long ago. Employers hire people like with disabilities, like autism, where they can get like a tax break, basically. So
you have to disclose you're autistic with a job because you get a tax break. So
employers,
but then when you disclose you're autistic,
I'm sure of it. Employers don't like that, have a tax break. I'm sure of it. Kind of thing. I'm sure of it.
Do you have to self-disclose yourself to your
Probably
workplace?
so, I'm assuming, because that's the employer is the one who's hired them. person is what I'm saying, you know, so they can probably say, hey, I got someone who's on disability kind of thing. I get, you know, and file when they probably file for tax stuff or whatever kind of thing, I'm sure of it. You know, so they can probably, you know, have to pay much out in taxes, the companies, I'm sure, for, is what I'm assuming.
Interesting.
That's what I'm assuming.
I don't have, I've only had really good experiences working professionally with autism, where I have more not great experiences on my profession, or sorry, my personal, more family, not family, but like just my personal connections. But professional, I've had really good experiences, but that's maybe because like I haven't actually gone through a lot of things that you're saying about like the tax breaks and everything like that. Like I've done that more like on my own. So it's interesting. I need to learn a lot for this kind of stuff. There's the resources, I know them, a lot of them, and how they can help, but I don't know like the logistics of a lot of stuff. So that's what I'm interested to learn.
Yeah, because I'm saying, because I don't know what's in Canada, you can do that, but in the US, you can't, basically, for employer hires person with disability kind of thing.
So I think let me announce
Does
that
it good for the
our
employer?
time is finished actually. Time finished.
Oh,
that was a very interesting going. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. And
Dr. Abbasi, you talk.
Thank you so much.
Totally zero. No battery at all. Thank you so much, everybody,
so
and see you in the next support group. And I will see you in my other discussion, Leah.
And everyone, I'm very sorry I'm late. I'm very sorry. I set my alarm, but I must have somehow, I don't know. I don't know how I turned it off, but I did. And
It's okay. It was
Thank
good
you for your
session.
patience.
Congratulations for your new house. New house. It's looking very good, by the way.
Ah, yeah. Congratulations.
Yes, you have new house. I like the
Beautiful view.
I like the window. Okay, thank you so much. See you.
I'm not homeless anymore.
Okay, bye-bye.
Happy dance.
I lied as
Thank you
well.
so much, Justin. See you in the next support group.
Bye-bye.
I will give you update on regular basis.